Welcome to Lost the Plot. In this video, we are going to take a spoiler-filled dive into the thrilling, emotional, and heart-pounding journey of The Last of Us. We're about to take you on a roller coaster ride through a post-apocalyptic world filled with unforgettable characters, fierce battles, and emotional moments that will leave you breathless. By the end, you'll surely want to replay the game, or be ready to dive into the second game or TV series. We kick things off with Joel, our rugged, emotionally scarred protagonist. He's been through hell after losing his daughter Sarah during the early days of the cordyceps outbreak, which turns people into terrifying infected creatures. It's a devastating scene where, as the player, you feel every desperate attempt to survive, only for it to end in tragedy when Sarah is shot by a soldier. It's a brutal introduction to the world of The Last of Us and establishes the emotional weight Joel carries with him throughout the game. 20 years after that outbreak, the world Joel inhabits is bleak. Humanity is just barely hanging on, and the infected aren't the only danger. Raiders, bandits, and even cannibals roam the land. But Joel isn't alone in this brutal world. Early on, we meet Tess, Joel's no-nonsense smuggling partner. Tess is tough as nails, the kind of woman who can stare down a threat and not flinch. You can tell Tess has a close bond with Joel. There's an unspoken trust between them, almost like they've been through everything together. They team up to deliver a package to the Fireflies, a rebel group fighting to restore some semblance of society and seeking a cure for the infection that has ravaged the world. The package turns out to be a young girl, Ellie, who is later revealed as immune to the infection, so the Fireflies believe she might hold the key to creating that cure. But it's not long before tragedy strikes. Tess gets infected, and in one of the game's most powerful moments, she makes the ultimate sacrifice, staying behind to buy Joel and Ellie time to escape. "This is my last stop," Tess says as her parting words. Tess's death hits hard. It's a reminder of how unforgiving this world can be, and it forces Joel to take full responsibility for Ellie. Tess's loss is the spark that truly sets Joel and Ellie's journey in motion. As Joel and Ellie make their way across the dangerous landscape, they come across Bill, a paranoid, foul-mouthed survivalist who has rigged an entire town with deadly traps to keep the infected and people out. Bill is a fascinating character. He's isolated himself from the world because he believes relying on others only leads to pain. "Once upon a time, I had somebody that I cared about. It was a partner," Bill says, hinting at a past where he did open himself up to love, but that love was shattered. He agrees to help Joel and Ellie. Even though Bill's closed off, you can tell he sees something of his younger self in Joel. There's this brilliant tension between them. You've got two gruff, hardened men who aren't big on feelings but are dealing with the fallout of losing people they loved. Helping Joel and Ellie seems like Bill's way of making up for his past failures. It's another reminder of how this world changes people, shaping them into survivors, but also leaving deep emotional scars. Later, we meet Henry and Sam, brothers who bring a glimmer of hope and heartbreak to the story. Henry, the older brother, is fiercely protective of Sam, who's still young, innocent, and full of curiosity about the world. The dynamic between the two brothers mirrors Joel and Ellie's relationship in a lot of ways. Henry is determined to keep Sam safe at all costs, much like Joel is with Ellie. And the four of them form a kind of temporary family unit as they fight their way through the dangerous world. There's a moment where the group finally seems to find some peace. They play games, joke around, and there's even laughter. It's one of those rare moments in The Last of Us where you let your guard down, thinking maybe things will be okay. But of course, nothing stays peaceful for long in this world. The heartbreaking turn comes when Sam is bitten by an infected. Henry doesn't know until it's too late. And when Sam turns into one of the infected, Henry is forced to do the unthinkable. He shoots his own brother to protect Joel and Ellie. The shock and grief are overwhelming. Henry looks at Joel, his eyes filled with despair, and says, "It's all your fault," before turning the weapon on himself. The scene leaves you stunned. It's a brutal reminder of how fragile hope is in this world, how quickly it can be snatched away. The loss of Henry and Sam is devastating for Joel and Ellie, particularly for Ellie, who had bonded with Sam over talks about comic books and the possibility of a better future. After these harrowing events, Joel and Ellie continue their journey and eventually find Joel's younger brother, Tommy. Once a Firefly himself, Tommy has a complicated history with Joel. He walked away from both the Fireflies and Joel years earlier, disillusioned by the violence and desperation around him. Now, Tommy lives in a small, fortified community where he has found a measure of peace and stability. When Joel and Ellie reach Tommy, there's tension between the brothers. Old wounds resurface, and Joel initially tries to pass off Ellie's protection to Tommy, knowing the dangers ahead. But Tommy's loyalty to his brother prevails, and he helps them continue their mission. Tommy represents what Joel could have had if he had chosen to stay in one place and rebuild his life, but it also highlights Joel's sense of responsibility and his growing bond with Ellie. But even after reuniting with Tommy, the danger is far from over. In one of the game's most intense sequences, Joel is gravely injured. This forces Ellie to step up in a big way. For the first time, Ellie is the one protecting Joel, scavenging for food and supplies, and even fending off dangerous enemies. During this period, Ellie encounters David, a seemingly friendly survivor who offers her aid. But David's true nature is revealed when he tries to manipulate and capture her. David is more than just a villain. He represents the darkest side of humanity in this world, showing how people can become predators under the guise of civility. Ellie is forced to confront David in a fight for survival, and this experience leaves her deeply shaken. David's attempt to overpower her has a profound impact on Ellie's psyche, hardening her in ways we hadn't seen before. Joel eventually recovers, but this chapter highlights the shift in their relationship, as Ellie becomes more independent and capable, and Joel starts to realize just how much she means to him. And now, we come to the story's final act, where Joel and Ellie's journey leads them back to the Fireflies. After a long and perilous trek, they arrive at the Firefly Hospital, where Ellie is to undergo surgery that could lead to a cure. But there's a terrible cost. Ellie will not survive the procedure. Joel, faced with the prospect of losing yet another person he loves, makes a fateful decision. He betrays the Fireflies, slaughtering them to rescue Ellie, even though she had been willing to sacrifice herself for the cure. This act of betrayal is born from love. Joel cannot bear to lose Ellie, who has become like a daughter to him. It's a heart-wrenching conclusion to the story, as Joel lies to Ellie about what happened, telling her that the Fireflies had found other immune people and that there was no cure after all. The game ends on an ambiguous note, with Ellie asking Joel if he's telling the truth. When he says, "I swear," she reluctantly accepts his answer, but the weight of that lie hangs heavy between them. These characters, Tess, Tommy, Bill, Henry, Sam, David, and the Fireflies, each bring something unique to Joel and Ellie's journey. Tess gives Joel a reason to care again. Tommy represents a path of redemption and a more peaceful life, though Joel doesn't take it. Bill shows Joel what happens when you shut yourself off from everyone. Henry and Sam remind them both of the cost of love and the fragility of hope. David forces Ellie to face the horrors of the world on her own. And the Fireflies embody a cause that demands sacrifice for the greater good, while Joel's actions question whether personal love can ever truly align with the broader needs of humanity. The story of The Last of Us isn't just about battling infected, the runners, clickers, and bloaters. It's about the people you meet along the way and the connections you forge, no matter how fleeting. It's a story about survival, sure, but more than that, it's a story about what it means to be human in a world that seems to have forgotten. Whether it's Tess's final act of bravery, Tommy's desire for a second chance, Bill's hidden vulnerability, Henry and Sam's tragic end, David's twisted presence, or Joel's ultimate act of love and betrayal, these characters remind us that love and loss are what define us, even when everything else has been stripped away. The name itself has a double meaning to hint that humanity is not only down to its last survivors, but the survivors themselves are down to the last of their humanity. That's it for this breakdown of The Last of Us. If this story gripped you as much as it did us, drop a thumbs up, and if you want more deep dives into epic tales like this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching.